Yes. I just have about 20 minutes before I'm going to go take the bus. Yeah. hmm Now, last night I spent a couple hours walking around trying to get $1.60. Yes. Took hours. And every time I have to spend hours and hours to be able to buy 1 ounce of tobacco, it upsets me. It was difficult. It was very hard on myself having to do all that walking when I realized that the taxation of the actual citizens is what's paying your wages. Now, these publicans, yeah. Saw a publican named Levi, yes, in Luke 5:27. Now, I just wanted to know how it is that police and sheriff's departments thought that they could get paid every month for what they do, yes, without thinking that they didn't have to represent me when I inform them of a crime. Now I've asked you to enforce the laws, and now I'm telling you that you did not represent every citizen. Taxation without representation. We've tried some of these lawsuits before, and I don't know if it's been documented as well as I've documented. Yes. That when I send 2,200,000, 300,000 emails, yeah, and you sat there and you said, well, if he has a problem, he can motion the court. I would say it's taxation without representation. Yes. To not have proof of service before having court hearings. Now, it seems that some judges really don't think that they can actually go to prison for not representing every person named as a party in each and every court case. But I documented, Luke 5:27. Yeah, that I never got notice of court hearings. I never got a dissolution of marriage. I didn't get any of the actual documentation, and then there's this concern about the United Nations marriage certificate. Let's say that you're a member of the United Nations, and there's various conventions that have been signed by the members of the United Nations. But the individuals that are employed, yes, that represent those nations, they are represented from the taxation of the various populations. Now, it's one thing to sue the United Nations for not enforcing their authority to dissolve United Nations marriage certificates, because I documented that lawsuit. It's another thing to sue each and every employee of each government that is a member of the United Nations that receives their income from the taxation of their population. Now, there's the possibility there's a lawsuit in this. Yes. See, when I give you an actual photocopy of the United Nations marriage certificate, and I tell you, well, there's no reciprocity with the United Nations to be able to dissolve it. And then I send you email after email, make videos, and make sure that you understand that it's United Nations marriage certificate. Each and every person that has represented the various nations of the United Nations that receives their income from the taxation of the individual populations is now personally liable for it now. Now I'm going to sue them. Why don't you get me all the employees of the various nations? Yes. That said, that as a member of the United Nations, we would enforce the conventions because the income is not from the United Nations. It's from the individual nations that represent the nations, yes, that are members of the United Nations. Now you're saying, well, it won't work, but it will. Because when I get, yes, the actual taxation that was used to pay the incomes of those that are the representatives of the individual nations of the United Nations, and I asked them, did you know about the dissolution of marriage in Clallam County where the United Nations marriage certificate was the actual marriage certificate of the named parties in the dissolution of marriage? And they say, yes. Do you realize that the United States has reformed? Now just give me the fucking tax returns.